Have you ever wondered how a single port can reshape the destiny of an entire country? Morocco's port of Tangier Med isn't just a local dock for cargo. It's Africa's largest port and one of the most important shipping hubs in the entire world. Strategically located at the gateway between the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea, Tangier Med has transformed Morocco into a global trade powerhouse, connecting Europe, Africa, the Middle East, and beyond. But how did Morocco manage to build a megaport that rivals the busiest harbors in Europe and Asia? Why is Tangier Med so critical not just for Morocco, but for international shipping routes and global supply chains? And what does its rapid growth mean for Morocco's economy, its people, and its role on the world stage? Today, we'll take a deep dive into the story of Tangier Med, how it was built, why it matters, and what the future holds for Africa's largest port. Before we begin, remember, this video is for informational purposes. If you're considering investing, doing business, or even visiting the region, always research carefully for yourself. Morocco's geographic position has always been one of its greatest strengths. Sitting at the crossroads of continents, Morocco controls part of the Strait of Gibraltar, one of the busiest maritime passages in the world. Every year, over 90,000 ships pass through the strait, carrying goods, oil, and raw materials between Europe, Africa, Asia, and the Americas. This narrow waterway is only 14 kilometers wide at its narrowest point, making it one of the most strategic shipping routes on Earth. For centuries, Morocco's proximity to Europe gave it both opportunities and challenges. On one hand, it was a natural bridge between civilizations. On the other, it was overshadowed by larger European ports that handled most of the trade. By the late 20th century, Morocco knew that if it wanted to modernize its economy and become a true global trade player, it needed to harness its geography. That's where the idea of Tangier Med was born. The plan was ambitious. Morocco would build a brand new deep-water port near the city of Tangier, designed not only to serve domestic trade, but also to attract international shipping giants. Construction began in the early 2000s, with backing from both the Moroccan state and international partners. By 2007, Tangier Med officially opened. From the start, it was clear that Tangier Med wasn't just another port. It was designed to be a global logistics hub. The port includes massive container terminals, oil and gas facilities, car export terminals, and passenger ferries. It also connects to free trade and industrial zones, where multinational companies can set up factories and warehouses right next to the shipping lines. And the results have been stunning. In less than 2 decades, Tangier Med has grown into Africa's largest port by capacity, handling more containers than even long-established harbors in South Africa or Egypt. In 2022, Tangier Med processed over 7.5 million TEUs. That's 20-foot equivalent units, the standard measure for containers. To put it into perspective, that's more than the combined throughput of many of Africa's other major ports. In fact, Tangier Med ranks among the top 25 busiest ports in the world, competing with ports in Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. One of Tangier Med's greatest strengths is its location. Ships traveling between Asia and Europe naturally pass through the Strait of Gibraltar. By stopping at Tangier Med, they save time and costs compared to docking at northern European ports. The port offers state-of-the-art facilities, quick turnaround times, and competitive fees, making it very attractive for global shipping companies. But the port isn't just about containers. Tangier Med also has a strong focus on the automotive industry. Morocco has become one of Africa's top car manufacturers, with companies like Renault and Peugeot producing vehicles in the country. Many of these cars are exported directly through Tangier Med to Europe and beyond. In addition, Tangier Med is a hub for energy trade, including refined oil products, chemicals, and liquefied natural gas. It's also a growing hub for passenger travel, with ferries connecting Morocco to Spain and other Mediterranean countries. The economic impact has been massive. Tangier Med has turned northern Morocco into one of the fastest-growing regions in the country. The surrounding Tangier Med free zones host hundreds of international companies, from automotive firms to textiles to electronics. These zones provide tax incentives and infrastructure, creating jobs and attracting billions in foreign investment. The port is directly linked to Morocco's expanding road and rail networks, including the high-speed train line between Tangier and Casablanca. This integration means goods can move quickly from the port to the rest of the country and beyond, making Morocco a true logistics hub for Africa and Europe. For Morocco's economy, Tangier Med is a game changer. It has strengthened Morocco's export capacity, boosted foreign direct investment, and created tens of thousands of jobs. Some experts estimate that the port contributes around 20% of Morocco's GDP growth in recent years, directly or indirectly. But Tangier Med is not just about Morocco, it's about Africa's place in global trade. For decades, many African countries relied on European ports for transshipment, meaning their goods had to be routed through hubs like Rotterdam or Antwerp before reaching global markets. Tangier Med changes that equation by providing a world-class hub on African soil. This has boosted Morocco's image as a gateway between Africa and Europe, positioning it as a key player in the African Continental Free Trade Area, AfCFTA. As trade across Africa grows, Tangier Med could play a central role in connecting African producers to global supply chains. At the same time, Tangier Med has increased competition with European ports. Spain, in particular, has watched Morocco's rise with both caution and interest. Some Spanish ports, like Algeciras, are just across the strait and now face a strong competitor in Tangier Med. However, the proximity also creates opportunities for collaboration and joint logistics chains. Of course, building such a massive port hasn't been without challenges. Environmental groups have raised concerns about the impact on marine ecosystems in the Strait of Gibraltar, one of the most biodiverse waters in the Mediterranean. Large-scale shipping brings risks of pollution, oil spills, and underwater noise that can harm marine life, including dolphins and whales. Another challenge is ensuring that the economic benefits are spread widely. While Tangier Med has created jobs and investment, critics argue that the wealth generated doesn't always reach local communities. Northern Morocco has historically been less developed than the central regions, and there are ongoing debates about how to ensure inclusive growth. There are also geopolitical risks. Being a major global hub makes Tangier Med sensitive to international trade fluctuations, political tensions, or even global crises. For example, the COVID-19 pandemic disrupted shipping worldwide, highlighting the vulnerabilities of ports that depend heavily on global trade flows. Looking ahead, Morocco isn't slowing down. Tangier Med continues to expand, with plans to handle 9 million TEUs annually in the near future. New terminals are under construction, and the Port Authority is investing in digital technology to make operations more efficient. There's also a push toward making the port more sustainable. Morocco, already a leader in renewable energy, is exploring ways to green its shipping sector, including using cleaner fuels and improving energy efficiency. The long-term vision is to make Tangier Med not only the largest, but also one of the most sustainable ports in the region. Perhaps most importantly, Tangier Med symbolizes Morocco's broader ambitions. This isn't just about shipping, it's about transforming Morocco into a modern, competitive, globally connected economy. By investing in infrastructure, logistics, and industry, Morocco is positioning itself as a rising power in both Africa and the Mediterranean. So, what can we learn from Tangier Med? It's a story of vision, strategy, and execution. Morocco recognized its geographic advantage and turned it into an economic engine. In less than 2 decades, Tangier Med went from an ambitious idea to a global hub, showing how infrastructure can reshape a country's destiny. For Morocco, the port is more than steel and concrete. It's a symbol of progress, a magnet for investment, and a bridge between continents. But it also comes with challenges: environmental, social, and geopolitical. How Morocco manages these challenges will determine whether Tangier Med remains a success story for decades to come. As always, if you're interested in Morocco's economy, shipping, or investment opportunities, make sure to research carefully for yourself. Tangier Med is impressive, but the reality on the ground is always more complex than headlines suggest. And with the port still expanding, the story of Tangier Med is far from over. Thanks for watching. What do you think the future of Tangier Med will hold?